Thanks for tuning in to our partner webinar brought to you by the National Association of Nutrition Professionals. This webinar is part of our NANP's partnership program, bringing you the latest information, education, products, and services from the holistic nutrition and wellness space. These webinars are recorded from a live event with a Q&A session for the attending audience. We hope you find this information useful and consider including our partners and their offerings in your life. This webinar, including all video, audio, slides, written materials, and related content, is the exclusive intellectual property of the National Association of Nutrition Professionals, NANP. Recording, copying, distributing, reselling, rebroadcasting, or repackaging this content in any format is strictly prohibited without prior written authorization from the NANP. Unauthorized reproduction or resale, including attempts to sell NANP-owned webinar content to the NANP or to third parties, is a direct violation of U.S. copyright law. Any company or individual engaging in this activity will be subject to legal action and financial liability, including statutory damages and recovery of legal fees. By participating in or accessing this webinar, you acknowledge and agree to these terms.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar featuring National Therapy Institute, Nutri Institute with Diane Kaler. I am your host, Tiffany Perry, Development Specialist for the NANP. We ask that you please hold your questions until the end, and these webinars are recorded and can be viewed by registrants with the link that will be sent out later this week. Also, we remind you that these webinars are prohibited from being recorded. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send them my way or to Diane. Okay, today we present Nutrition Therapy Institute, Premier Holistic Nutrition Certification for today's growing demands. Owner and Director, Nutrition Therapy Institute in Arvada, Colorado, Diane has been a leader in the field of nutrition education for 15 years. She is committed to helping people realize their optimal wellness potential through recognizing the full and inescapable impact of their food and lifestyle choices. NTI provides comprehensive premier training in holistic nutrition for those wanting to make a difference in the world by sharing what they know about the therapeutic benefits of nutrition and making intentional health-directed decisions. Under Diane's guidance, NTI students are empowered with science-based curricula coupled with customizable strategies that are immediately implementable for themselves, their families, and their future clients. Graduates of NTI are known to be highly skilled and knowledgeable, making them well-positioned to confidently meet the growing demand for holistic nutrition professionals. Again, please hold your questions until the end. Diane, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it. All right. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here. As Tiffany said, I'm Diane Kaler, and I'm Director of Nutrition Therapy Institute. And I want to tell you about our school and what we have to offer because we are very proud of what we do here and we think we have something special. So just to kind of set the stage and get a little bit of introduction on the table, NTI, Nutrition Therapy Institute, is one of the longest standing holistic nutrition schools in the country. We have a more than 25-year sustained presence in this field of holistic nutrition education, in which we have continuously pursued deep, in-depth, comprehensive science-based education to enable our students and our graduates to have the knowledge that they need to pursue whatever goals they have in working in this field of holistic nutrition and holistic wellness. We are located in Arvada, Colorado, which is just outside of Denver, but we only kind of highlight the location just so you kind of have an idea of where we're at. We have a real, we have a real physical location. We're a real school, but all of our courses are done online, so there's never going to be a reason to come to our school physically for any reason, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. And because our program is done completely online, we serve students throughout the United States and even internationally. So our program is a premier holistic nutrition training program. It is called the Nutrition Therapist Master Certification Program. As I mentioned, this is a rigorous, in-depth, comprehensive science-based program. You'll see that show up when we start talking about the program here in a minute. On top of that science-based foundation, we add and incorporate and layer on a holistic approach. We talk about holistic and functional nutrition strategies so that our students are empowered to be critical thinkers and critical learners within the realm of understanding the body and the nutritional influences from a holistic, science-based perspective. I always like to point out that, particularly recently, within the last couple of years, nutrition has made it onto the main stage. It is very mainstream for people to recognize that their food choices matter. And because of that, now more than ever, people are seeking guidance about how to make nutritional choices, for the purpose of improving their health and achieving their wellness goals. They're looking for someone who is a trusted source, someone who has credibility, someone that has integrity. And the demand for holistic nutrition professionals is definitely growing. And in order to be positioned to fulfill that demand, it is imperative that someone who's interested in doing this choose to pursue formal education to get the knowledge that they need to have in order to show up with those clients and be the practitioner of choice for them to help them make these decisions. And our education is definitely going to be beneficial in those who are looking to have the knowledge, have the skills, have the confidence to be able to provide this guidance to their clients. And a particular feature of our program is that we attract a lot of those who are already trained health coaches who recognize that they don't have the deep knowledge that they need to have. They also don't have the scope of practice that they may be interested in having to actually provide nutrition guidance for, therapeutic nutrition guidance to help achieve specific wellness goals. And so if you're already a health coach and you're looking to elevate your knowledge, elevate your scope of practice, then NTI is definitely the right school for you. So if you want to show up with your future clients and be able to say, yes, I understand what your health goals are. Yes, I understand the strategies that can help you achieve those goals. And yes, I can actually help you because ultimately that's what they're looking for. Then you need to deeply understand how nutrition influences health, and you need to have that science-based understanding of that. And you also need to have the confidence and competence to actually know how to provide that guidance and help support their goals. And both of those goals as a student and a graduate can be attained here at NTI. Of course, we are an NANP approved school, and therefore all of our graduates are eligible to sit for that board exam, board certified in holistic nutrition. And of course, as you're going through our curriculum on a daily basis, you're going to be learning things that not only you're sort of thinking about how you could apply this with future clients, but you're going to be learning things that are going to be able to be in support of your own health goals, your own wellness goals right now on a daily basis. And certainly if you're looking to create a career that, if your philosophy about health and wellness is more of a holistic perspective, then utilizing this certification to build that career will definitely be in line with those goals and definitely is a rewarding career choice. So let's talk about our program. Again, NTMC stands for Nutrition Therapist Master Certification, and that is the name of the program, the name of the title. I'll talk a little bit more here about the title here in a moment, but I want to talk about our program and the courses that we teach here. So our program comprises 13 courses, and all 13 courses are required in order to graduate and achieve that title, that certification to be able to practice. Our courses are distributed into what we call core academic courses and then skills development courses. In the core academic courses, this is where all of our students start off taking the foundational human science courses, anatomy and physiology and biochemistry. This is where you develop that understanding of the human body and the science of the human body, the biochemistry, biochemical pathways that regulate body function. And this not only gives you that foundational knowledge, but also helps you to develop the terminology and sort of flexibility with the vocabulary of the human body, because that's what you're going to need to build upon as you move into more advanced clinical application courses. Nutrients, the building blocks is another foundational science course. It is the science of nutrients, both macro and micronutrients. We teach the chemistry of these nutrients, as well as how the exact mechanisms of how these nutrients participate in human biochemical pathways. We teach deficiencies, toxicities, other health implications from all of the macro and micronutrients. Digestion and detoxification is a course where you learn about the digestive system. We do a very intimate deep dive into the anatomy and physiology of the digestive system. And then we talk about how the digestive system, the way it's designed, establishes the way in which digestion can optimally function properly. And then we go into all of the ways in which digestion can be compromised, and we do a deep dive into strategies to help regain optimal digestive wellness. Detoxification is such a critically important partner to the digestive system, but really all body systems. So we do a deep dive in this course into detoxification, the biochemistry of the detox pathways, and then also a really clear understanding of the nutrients that are necessary for each of the detox pathways and why, and how those nutrients can be accessed in the diet. Weight management and sports nutrition is a course where you learn about a wide variety of influences that influence the way the body partitions energy storage and energy usage. So in this course, you'll be learning about genetics and microbiome and particular food ingredients and classifications of food ingredients and how they really function within once again, the human biochemical pathways to understand why they have an influence on one's weight management, an individual person's weight management. The sports nutrition component is a course where you learn about dietary and lifestyle strategies that are going to be useful in helping provide guidance to your clients so that they can achieve their optimal performance goals. Life cycles and healthy aging is a course where we go through the life cycle. You learn about various nutrients that are required to achieve specific developmental goals on the front end of the life cycle. And then on the, back end of the life cycle, we talk about how to make the aging process one of optimal health and wellness. So we cover things like conception and fertility and embryonic and fetal development, pregnancy, neonatal health, infant health, childhood health, etc. And we talk about the nutrients that are necessary for optimal function, optimal performance, and achieving optimal goals in all of those stages. Pathophysiology and clinical applications is I call it our hardcore chronic illness course. This is the course where we cover a wide variety of chronic illnesses, the etiology, root cause issues of a wide variety of chronic illnesses so that you understand, as you're working with future clients that are experiencing some of these chronic illnesses, you have a good understanding of root cause issues and underlying mechanisms. And the types of conditions that we cover there are things like blood sugar dysregulation, cardiovascular health, immune system dysfunction, dysregulated immune system function. We talk about mental health disorders. We talk about, I can't remember if I said blood sugar dysregulation. We talk about methylation disorders. We talk about chronic pain and chronic sleep disorders. We also cover autoimmunity and cancer in that course. Nutritional endocrinology and reproductive health is a course where you learn about the endocrine system, how the endocrine system works, how hormones work, the biochemistry and the biochemical pathways of hormones, And then we kind of narrow in and do deep dives into very specific hormone pathways. So in this course, we cover the thyroid hormone pathway and all the thyroid stuff that you need to know, nutrition and dysfunction and all those kinds of things. We also do a deep dive, multi-class deep dive into both male and female reproductive hormone pathways. We also incorporate in that course a bone health class to discuss the endocrinology of bone health and how hormones actually regulate bone health. Introduction to Herbology, Supplements, and Labs is a course where we introduce our students to herbs, the use of herbs for their nutritional purpose and their nutritional value. We cover a wide variety of herbs and how they can be utilized to help your clients achieve certain nutritional goals. We talk about sourcing of high quality herbs. We talk about some different herbal preparation techniques. And we also talk about interactions between herbs and other substances. The supplements component of that course is a course that focuses on the use of supplements to help clients achieve specific therapeutic goals. We talk about different forms of supplements and when and how those forms are most useful for what situations and what kind of goals. We also talk about sourcing of supplements and accessing professional grade supplement products, interactions between supplements, and the pros and cons of selling supplements as part of your business model. Pardon me. The labs component of that course covers lab tests, what they are, what is available to clients to access, how clients can access those lab tests, and then what some of those lab tests can say about someone's current nutrition status for nutritional evaluation. Research and Communications is a course where you learn about academic research. What does it look like? How do you actually read studies? How do you find studies that are of high quality? How do you assess the quality of studies? How do you understand the conclusions and summaries and how to really have critical thinking about those conclusions and summaries? And then how to communicate what you have learned in an efficient way to your audience. Now, all of those core academic courses are 10 weeks long each, and I'll talk about actually taking courses here in a moment, but those are all 10 weeks long each. We have 3 skills development courses. Nutrition Therapy in Practice is a course, has a very unique name. It's a course about how to be a nutrition therapist working in practice. So we talk about kind of the daily ins and outs of actually working with your clients. We talk about doing intake. In this course, you'll be creating intake forms and learning how to adapt those forms to achieve, your goal of getting good information from your clients so that you can give good information back to them. And this course also goes through how to create personalized plans for your clients to help them achieve their unique goals. Business Readiness and Coaching Skills is a course where you learn about, it's really a lot about self-assessment to understand, where you're at, what you want to do, where you're at now, what the path looks like to get to where you want to go, so that you can start taking steps to be ready to be in business for yourself when you graduate or be working in someone else's business as an employee. The coaching skills component of that course covers the communication skills that are going to be necessary for you to have in order to help your clients achieve the goals that you are trying to provide them guidance for. Both of those courses are also 10 weeks long each. The culmination of everything you will do here is done in your independent study. This is your final capstone project in which you select a topic of interest that, it's something that you're really excited about learning about. You immerse yourself in the research. You really do a deep dive so that you can become an expert in that area. And then you create a final project that becomes the exhibit of your deep knowledge, your expertise, and kind of substantiates why people should trust you in knowing the information that you're going to be providing to them. This is something that, obviously it's required in order to graduate, but it has practical application as well, because you have now created a project that becomes a product that you can use to start marketing yourself. You can use it to set yourself up, at a niche area of specialty. You can start marketing yourself as a guest lecturer or a keynote speaker, however you want to use that for practical value to help be ready to start generating revenue immediately upon graduation. So, one of our sort of core values here is to honor the student journey. And the way that we honor the student journey is we provide a lot of flexibility in the way that you can partake in our curriculum. We really believe that school, going to post-secondary education is something that you make a choice to do. And we want that choice to be something that is easier to make because we try to make going to school fit easily in your life rather than you having to restructure your life to accommodate a rigid school schedule. So this is really what makes NTI stand out, and that is that we have a lot of flexibility in the way that you can participate in our curriculum. So once again, our entire program is done online, so everything is done, from the comfort of your own home or wherever you are. And we have two formats that you can participate in. One is called Group Start. This is a cohort learning opportunity where you are participating as part of a group, progressing through the course materials under the direction of the instructor. And these cohort learning opportunities occur during our scheduled academic terms. We are just this week finishing up with our fall term. Our winter term starts in a couple of weeks on December 8th. And so if you really thrive in if you really thrive in a group learning environment, then the winter term will be your next opportunity to participate in that type of experience, and registration for that term is currently open. The other option is called Independent Start, and this is a fully self-tailored scheduling option. In this option, you register for a course and you begin when it fits in your life and in your schedule. Now, there are a couple of besides the scheduling differences, there are a couple of other differences that I want to talk about between these two formats. You can go to our website. I'm going to take a sip of water, pardon me. You can go to our website on our academic calendar page and see these two options side by side. So you can kind of see, at a glance, the different features and characteristics of these two formats. I am going to talk about them, though, here in a moment. So all of our curriculum is delivered in downloadable slides. These are, for you to keep for as long as you need them. Each course is 10 weeks long. Each week has between 75 and 100, oftentimes more than 100 slides. That's where you get that really in-depth, comprehensive, science-based education. Additionally, all students have weekly pre-recorded video lectures. Or I should say all courses have weekly pre-recorded video lectures that all students get to watch. So both Group Start and Independent Start have these downloadable slides as well as these pre-recorded video lectures. All students know who their instructor is. They will get a welcome letter from their instructor, so they'll have the contact information. And if a student has a particular question about the curriculum content, they can schedule a time to have a conversation with their instructor to ask those questions. All right, so now, once again, we have these two different formats, Group Start and Independent Start. Group Start is the scheduled term academic calendar schedule. And during those academic terms, for Group Start, there are weekly 1-hour webinar classes with your classmates, with your instructor. In these weekly webinars, the instructor will answer questions, facilitate conversation. They also do a mini lecture on a selection of, a particular focus topic area from that week's full slide deck. For Group Start, there's also 3 required discussion board interactions with your classmates. Independent Start is that self-tailored scheduling option. There is no interaction in the weekly webinars nor in the discussion boards. In Independent Start, because it's self-tailored, It is a more of a self-directed learning process. And because of that, you can expedite your learning and finish in as little as 4 weeks. You can go faster. Now, you can't go longer than the allotted 10 weeks, but you can go faster and therefore shorten the amount of time it takes you to complete a course. So, as I mentioned, flexibility for our students is kind of what really makes us stand out. And I want to just kind of provide some context here to understand how to utilize this flexibility. So, each time you register for a course, you're going to get the option to choose either group start or independent start. That means each time you register for a course, you get to make the decision of the format in which you want to participate based on your scheduling needs, or perhaps based on, the topic for that course. And it's something that that you really want to have that weekly engagement with your classmates and your instructor because of the course content. You can choose group start. Maybe there's a course where, you just really want to quickly get it done and you want to, go at your own pace and you don't want to have to be tied to a schedule, then maybe that's why you choose independent start. Whatever kind of fits in your own goals and expectations for how you want to pursue education, we have the ability for you to do that. In addition to that flexibility, we also have flexibility in how many courses you take at one time. So for us, a full-time student is someone who's taking 2 courses per term or 2 courses at a time. Done consistently, it will take you 18 months to complete our program. Because this is adult education, we of course recognize that our students have commitments in their life, maybe family, work, etc., that prevents them from being able to take 2 courses at a time. And so we allow students to be part-time students, which means they're only taking 1 course at a time or 1 course per term. Done consistently, again, it will obviously lengthen the amount of time that it takes you to complete our program. But here we allow you to have flexibility and choose the number of courses that you want to take based on your own availability. So you can be either part-time or full-time, and you can mix and match. Maybe one term you take 2 courses, maybe another term you take, maybe only 1 course fits. Maybe another term 3 courses fits because your schedule is going to open up for that time period. You get to create the educational path that best fits your goals and your needs. We do, tell our students that they should plan for about 10 hours, of coursework per week in each of their courses. Some weeks it's going to be less than that. Some weeks it's going to be a little bit more than that. But on average, we say that's what an average means. On average, we say to plan for about 10 hours per week. The coursework includes, we do have weekly quizzes, we have exams. In some courses, we have assignments instead of quizzes and exams. And obviously there is, reviewing the slides, watching the videos. And so that's where the 10 hours of coursework comes from in each of your classes. The instructors that we have here are all trained in holistic wellness. They, come with their, of course, passion and enthusiasm, their deep knowledge, which is based on their educational experience, their clinical experience, and they're here to really help with clinical application. You're going to be getting a lot of, academic, science-based information, and all that's great, but when, whatever that saying is, when the rubber hits the road, you're going to be working with clients who have obviously real life goals as well as real life challenges. So having access to this wide variety of clinicians to help almost be a role model for how do you actually take this academic knowledge and apply it to your clients, that's really where our instructors shine. The designation that you're going to get here is Nutrition Therapist Master. This is a certification. I want to be really clear. This is not a master's degree program. It is a certification program in which that title, Nutrition Therapist Master, signifies that you have gained mastery in the knowledge, skills, and competency that are necessary to be a holistic nutrition professional. The scope of practice is, of course, in accordance with what is outlined by the NANP, working with clients, doing intake, evaluating current nutrition status, and then being able to provide advice and recommendations to help your clients achieve their wellness goals. This is a general scope of practice, and you may already be aware that each state has its own legislative environment for the practice of nutrition. And so, just kudos to and, highlighting the work of Laura Waldo at the NANP Legislative Affairs Division. You can go to the NANP, look at the Legislative Affairs page, and see what your own individual state regulations are. The career opportunities are varied, really only limited by your own creativity and initiative and drive and motivation. I would say that the vast majority of our graduates take the entrepreneurial route and open a private practice where they are seeing clients one-on-one, but that is in no way the only thing you are allowed to do or the only thing you are sort of trained and prepared to do. And certainly if you are interested in working in someone else's business, helping them pursue their business goals, but being a leading, impactful member of their business, those opportunities are also there and increasing. And that includes working in holistically minded medical practitioner offices. This is something that you will be qualified to do. You will have the knowledge and the sort of competence to be able to participate in that type of work environment. Also, natural foods, grocery stores, supplement companies are always looking for high quality, well-trained nutrition professionals. We have on our website, on our blog page, we have more than 20 articles about careers and career making in the field of holistic wellness and holistic nutrition. So we always encourage people to take a look at that and get an idea of how they could actually visualize themselves working in practice using the education that they get here at NTI. The tuition for our program is $11,970. That is the culmination of 12 of our courses being $950 each, and the last one's a little bit less than that. So those 10-week courses are all $950 each. That means you're getting that in-depth science-based curriculum for a little bit less than $100 per week. Now, this is, as I mentioned, this is post-secondary education. And of course, post-secondary education is a choice that you make to invest in yourself, invest in your future. And we want to make this tuition investment work in your life. And so we provide flexibility in how you can actually pay for our curriculum. So we are a pay-as-you-go program. That means that you're only paying for the courses you register for. So you're not paying that $11,970 up front. You're not paying half of that or a quarter of it up front. You only pay for the courses you register for. So $950 for each course. So for example, if you're taking only one course at a time, you're only paying $950 at a time. You can choose to pay that $950 per course all up front, or you can choose to set up a payment plan and distribute that $950 over the 10 weeks of the course to enable the financial investment in yourself to be able to be, more easily achievable for your own personal finances. Now, as a student or a prospective student, one thing you should be looking at when you are evaluating or assessing the value of the education that you're looking at pursuing, you want to understand how to calculate the return on investment or the potential for your return on investment. Of course, this is an investment not only in yourself and your knowledge, but it's also an investment in your future earnings potential. So you want to understand what are the potentials that for return on investment. So we have done, put together some examples of ways that you can practice, as well as examples of fee schedules that you can charge for these different types of practice modalities so that you actually have some numbers that you can use to start calculating your return on investment. So in no way is this a promise or a guarantee, but these are examples of ways that current nutrition, holistic nutrition professionals are working and what they are currently charging. So for example, if you decide that you want to create 6-month packages, where you're working with a single client over a 6-month time period, if you sell one package per month, then the potential for return on investment, and we're talking about the investment of your tuition costs to go to school, is about 4 months. Doing one-on-one hour-long client sessions at $150 each, doing 3 of those per week, the return on your investment could be, as little as 6 months. Doing group coaching or creating courses where you're, enrolling 40 people at $300 each, it could take you perhaps a year to get that return on investment. Once again, these are examples. They are not promises. They are not guarantees. They are examples of ways that practitioners are currently working, and you can mix and match these. Maybe you want to do a little bit of all 3 of them to maximize your maximize your impact working with your clients, as well as maximize the ability to increase your return on investment. So as I get close to wrapping up here, I want to kind of do a summary of the advantages of choosing NTI. I have talked about our comprehensive science-based education. I've talked about the flexibility that we have, both in paying for courses and taking courses. I want to really highlight the fact that our students are not just numbers. Our staff knows our students. We have, a team of advisors. We have admissions staff. They get to know our students. They know our students by name. Obviously, our instructors get to know our students. And so it is very much a personal experience when you participate in our curriculum. All right, so I might be duplicating myself here, but we do have that flexibility both in taking courses as well as paying for your courses. As I mentioned, of course, we are an NANP approved school. We meet all of the NANP curriculum requirements that we're proud to meet and proud to be an NANP approved school. And that means that all of our graduates are eligible to take that exam to become board certified in holistic nutrition. And our graduates have a high pass rate on the board exam. And that really just speaks to how well prepared our students and then graduates are to partake in the prep work to do well on that exam. I'm not saying you don't have to prep, you don't have to study. I'm just saying that you're well prepared to initiate that preparation. Our students here get a 1-year discounted student membership in NANP, which of course has lots of value, as you know, understanding the value that NANP provides for those in this field. We have on our website a free listing for all of our graduates so that it becomes a referral site for those who are looking to work with a well-trained holistic nutrition professional who has graduated from NTI, but also as a prospect, if you want to go to our grads page on our website, you can take a look at all those graduates and actually get a link to go directly to their websites and see what they're doing and how they're participating in this field to get an idea of the ways in which they're practicing. We have no requirements for CEUs. Once you graduate from NTI, you keep the certification, the title, without being expected to participate in continuing education. Of course, once you are a lifelong learner, likely you will want to participate in continuing education and do those advanced training programs, but there's no requirement that you prove to us that you have done it in order to maintain your certification. And, the reputation that NTI has in this field of holistic nutrition education is, is high. Our students are known to be knowledgeable and skilled. And so our graduates have a great reputation based on the fact that they have gone to school and graduated from NTI. We do have an application process that for our NTMC program that we ask that you submit a handful of documents and sign an enrollment agreement. And our admissions team is here to help if you have any questions or run into any challenges with submitting the documents. It's a really easy process. We've really streamlined the process. You just go to our website. On the upper menu bar, click Get Started, and then you'll get an option that says Apply Now. And as soon as you hit that, you just start going through the process. And it's a very, as I said, streamlined process to go through the application process. Once you are approved and get that approval and become that full-fledged student, that's when you would start registering for courses, obviously paying for courses so that you can start accessing the course materials. If all of this sounds great, but before going through the full application process, you really want to know, is NTI the right school for you? Is everything that I'm saying, is it actually going to be true for you? And is NTI the right school for you? We want you to be able to have the opportunity to try out a course to get that hands-on experience. This is called our single course enrollment option. In this option, you can choose to take either anatomy and physiology or biochemistry as a standalone course to experience our curriculum, experience working with our instructors and our staff, experience working with our learning management system so that you can actually have that personal experience that we are definitely the right school for you. Choosing the single course enrollment is you go through all the same steps in doing the application process. You just divert yourself away from the full application process by choosing single course enrollment when you get into start your application. And it's, once again, very easy to do. All right, so for the NANP community, we have several incentives and special offers. First of all, to the NANP audience, we want to offer a 50% off your first course. That's a $475 savings. And you can access that by using this QR code or just going to this link, ntischool.com/NANP-webinar. And it will take you right there to be able to get that 50% off your first course. And that's a $475 savings. Also, I mentioned earlier that we might have some existing health coaches that are looking to elevate their education as well as their scope of practice. So for those existing health coaches that have 1 year, at least 1 year in business, we will waive our business readiness and coaching skills course, and that's a $950 savings. For those who have had some previous college level anatomy and physiology, if you have the transcripts to prove that college level A&P that you took it and passed it, then we will waive one of our beginning foundational science courses, anatomy and physiology. We'll waive that course for you, and that's another $950 savings. Also, for those people who are live here today, we have a 60-day window in which we will refund your application fee if you're attending live today. If you apply for, register for, and pay for your first course by January 19th, 2026, and that's a $115 savings. So in total, if you are eligible for all 4 of these special discounts, in total, there is the potential for $2,490 in savings. So, when you reach out to us, make sure that you let us know the accessing the 50% off. You're going to get that through this QR code or on this link. The others, though, you would need to let us know when you reach out and start having those initial conversations with our admissions team that to take advantage of these other savings and special offers. So with that, I just want to say once again, we have a team of people, student advisors and admissions team that are here to help and answer any questions. I'm going to answer questions here today, but if something comes up, in a couple of days after you're sort of thinking about this and mulling it over, please do reach out. All of our contact information is here, our website, calling, texting. We're also on social media, Instagram and Facebook. We do have a podcast that you can find on our website, the NTI Pod Talk. We talk to students and graduates. We've talked to some people from NANP. We've interviewed Laura Waldo and Nicole. So we've had a wide variety of people on our Pod Talk. So please do take a look at that. All right. And so with that, Tiffany, I'm ready to answer any questions that may have come in.
Okay, first question. Will students have the personal interaction and access to instructors or mentors for both the group and the independent starts?
So for Group Start, it is built in via the weekly webinars, and those are required attendance. So that's built in already. For Independent Start, it is initiated by you, the student. So if the student wants to have that interaction with their instructor to be able to ask those questions about the curriculum content, that's something that the student would initiate. The instructor is not going to say, hey, it's time for a check-in. We don't do that direction. We rely on the student to initiate the need for having those conversations.
Okay. And next question, how is the curriculum updated to stay aligned with current research and trends?
Yeah. So each of the courses gets a full sort of overhaul. We don't have a specific schedule, but it gets a full overhaul and a full update every 2 to 3, maybe some of them 4 years, but on a regular basis, when kind of new interesting things come up, we'll insert those into the curriculum. The new insertions will be on the slides. They may not show up in the video recordings because the video recordings are only done when we do that full overhaul. But the inserts into the slides will show up as soon as that new information shows up in the world. So whenever it shows up in the research, that's when it shows up in the slides.
Got it. Okay. And then how has the demand for nutrition practitioners changed over the last 5 years, and what does NTI see coming next?
Yeah, so this is an interesting question, and I'm going to talk about something that I haven't really fleshed out fully in the way I describe it, but and I don't even think this has been 5 years. I think that in the last couple of years, with the new entry into everyone's life of AI, I do have a concern that it used to be that people would play quote unquote Dr. Google, and they'd insert whatever their quest was, for health or wellness. They'd insert that into Google and they try to self-direct their own wellness path by using Google. And that only got them so far, such that they started to realize how important it was for them to actually seek out someone who was a well-trained, credible, legitimate practitioner to give them the guidance that they were looking for. Now with AI, I think that is becoming even more obviously prevalent. And this is why it now is even so much more important that people choose to go to school, choose to pursue formal education, and choose to pursue an education that has this in-depth curriculum. Our program is obviously potentially longer than what you may see in other schools, and the length and the depth is what results in a higher tuition cost, but you get what you pay for. And my concern is that, kind of these quick become a nutritionist, like quick certification programs, they are no more knowledgeable than what you can get from doing, even the most sophisticated AI search and information. And if you really want to be able to stand out, if you really want to, be able to work with your clients using your authenticity and your deep knowledge, and you want them to be able to see and recognize the quality of your knowledge, the credibility of your knowledge, you need to pursue education that provides you with this deep knowledge. Our program is not, our courses aren't 10 weeks long each because we teach a very fluffy, top level, surfacey thing, and we just, lazily expand it out into 10 weeks. No, it's 10 weeks because it is in depth. It is biochemistry. It's the biochemical pathways of how this stuff works. And you need to have that knowledge if you truly want to not only set yourself apart from, potentially other practitioners out there who have like a weekend nutrition certification, but now you need to also set yourself apart from AI. And as that, I think, is going to become more challenging, it just requires our students and our graduates to be able to better advocate for themselves, that they really do have more than what their potential future clients are going to be able to get from, doing Dr. AI, Dr. Chat GPT or Grok rather than Dr. Google.
Sure. Well, we do have a question from Rosanna again here. Would this be a good program for someone who is already a registered dietitian? It says that has a lot of the science, but is interested in more holistic functional nutrition processes.
Yes. So we do have, I'm not going to say we have hordes of students that had already got some sort of nutrition training, but we definitely do have those, people who already have had some sort of nutrition training, whether it's a registered dietitian or one of those short weekend, or 2-week intensives, because they realize that either they missed that in-depth biochemistry and science, or they really missed out on the more of the holistic approach. And so we do have students that are looking for that. And it definitely is very applicable to both of those and those two categories together. So yes, definitely.
Okay. And thank you so much for I just have to say, the amazing offers that you've offered up to everyone watching today, because that's really good information. So anyone watching this, please feel free to take a screenshot here, because this is the good stuff.
Yeah.
And also, it looks like the next group start is December 8th and runs through March the 2nd, correct?
Yes, I don't know the end date off the top of my head. So yes, March the
Great.
2nd.
Great.
And that has a built-in 2-week break for the holidays. So
Okay. Well, looks like that's all the questions that we have here. I just wanted to remind everyone that this presentation can be viewed via the link they will receive by email this week. And I guess, thank you so much, Diane. This brings us to the end of our discussion. We really appreciate you being here today.
absolutely. Thank you so much. I am always thrilled to talk about NTI, obviously, and I'm really happy to be here. And just to kind of, say it again, you're going to be getting a link of this recording, obviously. But if you have other questions, our admissions team is here Tuesday through Friday to answer any of those questions you might have. And you also are welcome to reach out to one of our admissions team, and they can send you these slides if you want to actually get these slides, in case maybe you taking notes, maybe you feel like you missed something. You're welcome. We're happy to send out these slides to you as well. You just have to reach out to our admissions team. So
yes, thank you for all the contact information and the QR codes. Those are valuable.
yeah, great.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Diane, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
The information presented in this webinar is for educational purposes only. Please note that holistic nutrition professionals do not diagnose, prevent, treat, cure, prescribe, manage, or heal diseases or medical conditions. They are also not licensed in any state and work with clients, not patients. There are no continuing education credits associated with this webinar.